New research by Political Research Quarterly is showing that both mainstream news outlets on the right and the left might be harming the political discourse in America. Perhaps this is not, based on that headline, the most surprising thing in the world, but there are some interesting findings here, and so we're going to talk about them. So what they did was they looked at the 2008 presidential election, they looked at Fox News and MSNBC, and what effect watching those channels had on people's perception of the candidates. Now, initially, these results might not be surprising. They found that people who watched Fox News became more favorable of McCain and less favorable of Obama over the course of the presidential election, although again, perhaps not a causal mechanism operating right there. And conversely, people with who watched MSNBC also liked McCain less, liked Obama more. But what's interesting about this is that they didn't change their views about their own candidate and the opposition candidate in the same way. It's not like they were becoming educated about both of them. It tended to be almost all attacking the opposition candidate. And so Fox News didn't tend to do that much to prop up McCain, or the effect that they had on people wasn't based on that. It was mainly attacking Obama, and the opposite was true for MSNBC. They spent a lot of time attacking McCain, according to what we're seeing here, and not so much actually defending or supporting Obama, which I think actually is pretty surprising. Another thing that does not surprise me, but I'm very glad that it's coming out in this research, is that at least when it comes to Fox and to a lesser extent MSNBC, their opinion programs tended to have the strongest effect, but their news programs had the same sort of effect, although to a lesser degree. So it didn't matter if you were watching Glenn Beck or Bill O'Reilly or their news programs, they were doing the same sort of thing. They were propping up the candidate that supports their ideology, and they were attacking the candidate on the other side. I personally am not surprised by this, but I am very glad that it's being detailed here. Now, to sum up what the study found, Smith and Searles, they're the authors that wrote it, they say, the study suggests that viewers' attitudes are shaped predominantly by vitriolic coverage of the opposition. Rather than viewers consuming news from a source that confirms their support for their in-party candidate, viewers are consuming news from a source that seems to confirm their distaste for the opposition. The result is not only more polarized partisans, but also partisans who are polarized because they hate the other side, rather than because they are card-carrying supporters of their side. And that is interesting. And so, of course, reading this research, I have to think about what sort of network TYT is, because that's where I work. And I think that we do certainly do quite a bit of attacking the opposite side. And it certainly is not true that we mindlessly boost our own side. We attack Obama when necessary. But I would say the difference, I think, between us and MSNBC on the left and Fox on the right is we are very focused on providing context to the stories that we talk about. And I, especially in my own program, are trying to do that. It's not simply about demonizing them and then case closed. It's about showing why they're wrong, saying what they're wrong about, why it affects society in the way we think it does, what damage is it doing to the country, to democracy, things like that. It's that context that makes us different from these other programs. And I think all too often MSNBC is willing to just say, haha, Mitt Romney said something stupid, and Fox is willing to just say, haha, Obama is a Marxist Kenyan. And then that's as far as they go. You don't really learn anything through that. But with programs like mine, with programs programs on TYT, it's, yeah, we'll do some of that as well because it's fun and blah, blah, blah. But we provide the necessary context. And I think that that's the benefit of watching a program like ours. Maybe I'm tooting our own horn, but that's why I like what we do. And so very interesting research coming out here. I like what it says about the lack of distinction really between opinion programs and news programs on these networks, and also the difference between supporting your candidate and opposing the opposition candidate. It's definitely something to think about as we move into the next presidential cycle.